have done the outline at this point, correct? So we're gonna continue. Let me give you some pointers, everyone. Your neckline, the front band always, oh, sorry. Shrink. The front band right here, correct, is always gonna connect to the highest point. That's what we call the high point, shoulder point. The back band is not gonna go to the seam. No. Why? Because when we wear a t-shirt, we don't see the back. So that's how we're sketching it. It's called a flap for that reason. So now we have all of these things. Perfect. So now we're gonna do top stitching. And why am I doing top stitching? Because a t-shirt has top stitching. So what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna draw, let's do the sleeve because it's easier. We're gonna draw and drag, but I don't want that. I want a dash line. So here you go. That line, when I click dash in my stroke panel, is too big. We're gonna go here, I'm gonna make it tinier, maybe 0.5, depending, it's up to you. And I see the spacing, the dash size and the gap size. So the dash size is not a problem, it's the gap, so maybe it's just 2. Once I do that, it's good. I want a double needle. For anyone who does not understand in construction, knits are not stitched with single needle machines. It's double needle. It's called a cover stitch. So we're gonna do this, and there you go. We go again. We select it, we click Alt, and we drag it up, and we let it go. Done. That's already looking really good. Then we go in the bottom, pressing Shift, and I think pressing Shift, I'm gonna make a click and pressing Shift, I'm gonna make a beautiful curve. If you don't press Shift, you might be getting this situation, which I'm gonna show you. This is me pressing Shift. You notice that if I were to reflect this, it might look like a V. I need this to look perfect seamless curve when I reflect it. So that's why. So the same thing with the double needle, we're gonna select and copy it up. Okay? But the difference is that we can see some sections here not reflecting. That's okay because we're just copying. Now, I did show Sophia how to do a brush. We're not doing that today. So we're just going to do direct select and click away, and that's it. We need to get used to using our direct select tool, which is this one, and our selection tool. As a reminder, the select tool is going to do the entire all the lines that are connected, everything that's grouped. I'm going to discuss what's grouped later, not in this class. And then, not right now, direct selection, which means you can select by dots, by points, by the handle. Okay? Hope that makes sense. Now, the other thing, there is a stitch right at the neckline. There is a stitch right at the neckline right here. So that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna copy it, and look what happens. We're gonna do again, we're gonna move our direct selection tool, and we're gonna do that. That's gonna look fine. Now, if I have this line already made and I have this selected, I can go to press I or eyedropper and just click on the line. Done. I'm gonna do it again. This is a whole line. Do I want to go into the settings again? No. I can click I can press I, or I can click the eyedropper right here and click on the line that I want. I can do that with anything. Look, I can change it. I can change the weight. So eyedropper Illustrator is not so much about color. It's about your line settings. Okay? Okay. Now, this is beautiful. I want to create shadows because I want to. Okay? It's going to make pretty. I want pretty things. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to create a line. But you see, yes, I need to remove the stroke. Let's remove the stroke. I look here, take it out, go into the fill section, and look for a gray, whatever gray you want. And that's not a shadow yet, because what I can do now is go to opacity, put multiply. Done. That's a shadow now, because it's the waist. After all of this is done, I'm gonna do one. This is beautiful. It is done. I select everything. Go to my reflect tool. Now, sometimes you might see this tool instead, which is the rotate tool. No, no, no. Click and hold. Press reflect tool. Okay? Once you do that, then you're gonna reflect and copy. And we drag it. Now, if you're not sure, we selected it. We're gonna do it again. We reflect tool, make sure it's vertical. You can see the preview and you put copy. It's already selected, don't move anything. Make sure you are in your selection tool, pressing shift, you're gonna move it down. And there you go, it snaps into place. Now, if I really want to see if I did it correctly, I can take it out from the bottom. Remember how we have layers and we have the little eyes? You can see what's happening. There you go, done. It is done. But I can see there's the little gaps in here. If I want to make sure everything's together, there's one way to do it really fast, which is you go into your Pathfinder. This is not a step that you need to do now. If you want to have one entire line together in segments, you go into Pathfinder and you go right here. That means that whatever lines that are close to each other is going to make it into one. You click it. But you notice that I have a little 2 points. That means it's not put together correctly. That's fine. When that happens, I just erase these. And I'm going to redraw it again. This is for anyone that wants to fill in things, and they're not able to because you have paths that are open. So you click on here. Now you can see it's an entire thing. Or you can do Pathfinder and it's done. Now I can click and maybe make it pink. Why is it not doing it? I don't know why. Hold on a second. Make it pink. And ta-da, done. Now, let's say what happens is that this is how it came out. The solid pink is in the top. When that happens, it's all about arranging. You control, arrange, and put send to the back. It is done. Okay? This is done. Now, I wanted to show you more things. You want to add more shadows here? You can. A reminder is that you can always select an item and do Command 2. Look what happens. I locked it. I locked the neckline. I can draw on top of the neckline now. So how do I do that? Okay, let me show you again. Let's just say a reminder. I did this about a class ago. Let's just say I want to draw on top of this, but every time that I start drawing on top of it, I'm creating other lines. What do? I can select the entire sketch and put Command 2. Look, I'm not selecting anymore, but I can draw on top. So I'm just going to draw on top because I want to add a shadow inside the neckline. You guys don't need to, for the homework, you guys don't need to give me a filled-in sketch. I'm just showing you how to do it. And I use my eyedropper to get the same exact shadow. Eyedropper is your friend. You look how much you didn't do. You just have to copy it, and that's it. Then if you want to take it out of the lock, it's Shift-Alt-2. I'm sorry, Control-Alt-2, and that's it. Done. It is beautiful now. It has shadows, it has stop stitch. My stop stitch is nice and neat. And I only needed to do one side. That's what I need you to focus on. Do one side. If you start sketching the entire thing, it's not going to be symmetrical and you're working too hard to create one sketch. Okay? Okay. There's other ways to go about it. Next week, I'll go into grouping. That means that you see how everything's it's in one side. If I click on something, it's just one line. If I select the entire thing and I go into Command G or group, that means that everyone's a friend and I can move it all together now. Okay? And then if I really want to go into it, we can go into Effect, stylize, where are you? Effect, stylize, and we do drop shadow. And we can play with the drop shadows here. This is for anyone who wants to try a little bit more on their homework or not, and we can change the reflection of our shadows. Okay? That's grouping. Group. So we're grouping things together. So you select the entire thing. Let me do it again. Ungroup, and you see how the shadow goes away? It's not only one object anymore. What you do is you select everything, and you Command G or Control G. Now it's one object. The other thing is, it's a group. If I double click, you notice that my screen changes? It's because I'm able to isolate now. This is, we're gonna touch more on the pants next week. It's isolating, so we're gonna show you again. We group one thing together by Command G, by selecting what we need to. Because sometimes, let's just say, I wanna change all of these top stitching really fast to one color. I group those together only, and I just change the color. So I don't have to do so much work on selecting. But if I just want to put this beautifully and like not worry about if I'm selecting or not, you just click and select it, Command G, and now look, I don't even have to have it selected. Automatically, it selects as one piece. You see that? Not only that, if I double click, my screen changes. You can see that it says group, and I can double click and isolate even one line if I wanted to. It's always double clicking. This will be more for next week. I'm just showing you if you want to like play with it, get familiar with it. Next week we're gonna do pants. I'm not doing a hard pants. If you want to see the pants that we're doing for next week, it's in Brightspace to get familiar. You can change the pants to whatever you want. You can do leggings. I don't care as long as the pants or a short. I need you to start thinking in the way of like, does this make sense for my customer? You can use the t-shirt all day if you want for your customer, but is it the right t-shirt? Maybe it's a different color. I don't know. Okay? It depends. For my customer, she was a little, I don't think she will like this t-shirt, but you know, whatever. We're okay. So I hope this explains why now we're focusing on half the sketch, because that saved us so much time, did it not? Half a sketch, and then you reflect it, and you can add your shadows, you can do everything you need to do.